Thank you, Mr. President. I stand on a matter of privilege to discuss an issue of grave national concern. Noong nakaraang linggo sa hearing ng Committee on Justice and Human Rights, meron daw pong mga inconsistencies di umano sa mga pahayag ni Mr. Edgar Matubato. Next slide, please. Una, ayon sa testimonya ni Matubato sa Senado, grade 1 lamang siya ang natapos niya at ito daw ay taliwas sa nakasaad sa affidavit niya sa NBI na nakalagay grade 3 at sa kanyang service card na sa Davao City Hall na nakalagay ay siya ay high school graduate. Sa ating fact check, sa lahat ng tanong kay Mr. Matubato, ang sagot niya ay siya ay grade 1. Hindi rin si Matubato ang sumulat at naghanda ng service card at affidavit niya dahil hindi siya marunong magbasa at magsulat. Yung sa service card, maaring ito ay nilagay na high school graduate para ma-justify yung kanyang pagsiservisyo sa City Hall. Pero ano pa man, grade 1 ang kanyang claim at kung merong ibang magsasabi na mas mataas ang natapos niya, then dapat meron po silang ipapakita na pruweba. So sa madaling salita, walang inconsistency. Pangalawa, sinabi umano ni Matubato noong September 15 hearing na si President Duterte ang nag-utos na patayin si Sally Macdum. Ayon sa ating pagsaliksik, sa transcript ng September 15 hearing, walang sinabi si Mr. Matubato na si President Duterte ang nag-utos na patayin si Sally Macdum. Kagaya nung sinabi niya nung September 22 hearing, si Las Cañas ang nag-utos sa kanila. Next slide. So walang inconsistency dun sa sinabi niya yun. Pangatlo, ayon sa kay Senator Cayetano, sinabi umano ni Matubato sa affidavit niya sa NBI na si President Duterte ang nag-utos ipapatay si Sally Macdum. Ayon sa ating pagsaliksik, ayon sa NBI affidavit ni Matubato, Sally Macdum was ordered liquidated by Rodrigo Duterte through SPO4 Arthur Las Cañas because he was a suspected na terrorist. Andyan po yung source sa mga dokumento na yan. So sa madaling salita, walang inconsistency. Next slide, please. Kaapat, ayon sa testimonya ni Matubato sa Senado, binigti at sinapchap umano nila si Sally Macdum. Ito daw ay taliwas sa affidavit niya sa NBI na nagsasabi na binigti, nilaslasan ng leeg, sinaksak at sinapchap nila si Sally Macdum. Again, ayon sa mga salaysay ni Mr. Matubato, siya lang ang nagbigti kay Sally Macdum. Ngayon nais kong i-emphasize ang ibig sabihin ni Mr. Matubato ng pagbigti. Ito yung panggarote o pangsakal, hindi yung binibitay, kagaya ng pagkakaintindi ng mga taga rito sa Maynila. Dagdag pa niya, hindi siya kundi si Las Cañas ang sumaksak kay Sally Macdum. Ipapakita ko mamaya ang isang larawan para mabigyan ng idea kung paano nangyayari ito. Again, wala pong inconsistency. Next slide, please. Sabi umano ni Mr. Matubato sa September 15 hearing na noong 2010, kinidnap nila ang mga tauhan / bodyguard ni Nograles. Binago niya umano ang kanyang statement noong September 22 hearing at sinabi na ang kinidnap nila ay tao ni General Palparan at ni General Matillano. Now, ayon sa ating pagsaliksik, nakalagay sa transcript noong September 15 hearing, sinabi ni Matubato na noong 2010, kinidnap nila ang 4 na tao ni Nograles. Sinabi din niya na ang mga taong ito ay tao ni General Matiliano at General Palparan na sumusuporta kay Nograles. Sinabi po niya yan. So sa madaling salita, again, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matubato, wala daw siyang ginawang affidavit tungkol sa DDS, ngunit lumabas na may affidavit siya sa NBI tungkol dito. Next slide please. Base sa ating pagsaliksik, ang tanging complaint affidavit na final ni Matubato ay tungkol sa kanyang torture at kay Richard King at hindi tungkol sa Davao Death Squad. Ang binasa po ni Senator Cayetano ay isang sworn statement. Ang pagkakaalam ni Mr. Matubato, magkaiba po ito. So in short, wala pong inconsistency. Next slide. Ayon kay Matubato, sinabi sa kanya na sa McDonald's binaril si Richard King. Ito ay taliwas sa totoong nangyari na sa sariling opisina pinatay si Richard King. Ngayon, base sa ating pagsaliksik, maliwanag sa mga salaysay ni Mr. Matubato na wala siya sa actual na pagpatay kay Richard King at ito ay ikinuwento lamang sa kanya. So sa madaling salita, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matubato, masking tape ang ginagamit nila sa pagbalot sa muka ng mga biktima nila. Ngunit nang papiliin ni Senator Cayetano, yung packaging tape ang napili niya. Sa limitadong kaalaman ni Mr. Matubato, ang pangalan ng iba't ibang office supplies, ang tawag niya sa lahat ng uri ng tape ay masking tape. So sa madaling salita, again, walang inconsistency. Next slide please. Ayon kay Attorney Abeto Salcedo Jr., tinangka siyang patayin ni Matubato noong October 24, 2014. Ayon naman sa ginawang report ng NBI sa DOJ, nasa custody na ng WPP si Mr. Matubato noong September 1, 2014. At hindi lang yan, na-discover natin na base dito sa balitang ito, October 24, 2014, inambush yung DARA adjudicator at ang kanyang description ng gunman ay slim, 5'8" ang height at wearing black shades during the attack. So maliwanag, hindi si Mr. Matubato yan dahil mga 4'8" lang yata ang height ni Mr. Matubato. So isang talampakan ang diferensya sa description. Siya po yung nag-file ng kaso ngayon kay Mr. Matubato. Next slide. Ngayon, kung meron pa mang ibang inconsistency pa, ito ay minor lamang at pwede nating ipaubaya sa memory lapse dahil sa edad niya na 57 years old at dahil sa dami ng kanyang napatay o nakitang napatay, ito ay nagiging regular na pangyayari sa buhay niya. Kagaya rin nating lahat, walang may perpektong memorya. Bukod pa riyan, siya ay nakatapos lamang ng grade 1 at hindi makapagtagalog ng maayos. At dahil hindi siya makabasa, ang buhay niya ay umaasa ng malaki sa tiwala ng mga tao sa paligid niya. Kung ano ang sasabihin sa kanya ng mga taong pinagkakatiwalaan niya, yun ang pinangahawakan niya. Ano't ano paman, pagkatapos ng mahigit 10 oras na cross-examination at scrutiny ng ating mga mahuhusay na mga senador, inconsistencies lamang ang kanilang napuna at wala ni isang sadyang sinungalingan silang nakita. At habang sumasang-ayon ako na pwedeng subukan butasan ang testimonya ng isang testigo para matest ang kanyang credibility, considering ang fact-finding nature ng legislative inquiry, mas ginusto ko na magkalap ng mga impormasyon at ebidensya para ma-validate o hindi ang mga pahayag ng testigo. At ito ang aming nakita. Ayon kay Matubato, nagserbisyo siya sa Davao City Government hanggang 2013 September nung umalis siya sa DDS. Dito po, sa service card ni Matubato bilang empleyado ng Davao City Government, makikita natin na naka-assign siya sa City Mayor's Office sa Davao City. At dito sa date, as early as September 1990, ay nagtatrabaho na siya sa City Mayor's Office. Sa madaling salita, totoo ang kanyang mga pahayag. Next slide. Dito po sa ID ni Matubato bilang empleyado ng Davao City Hall, makikita natin si Mayor Sara Duterte ang nakapirma dahil si Mayor Sara Duterte ay siyang mayor simula 2010 hanggang 2013 sa Davao City. So hanggang dun sa panahon na yon ay totoo ngang empleyado siya. Next slide. Dito sa payroll ng job order, makikita natin ang pangalan ni Mr. Edgar Matubato na siya ay naka-assign dito sa Davao City Hall as late as July 1, 2013 based on this payroll na pirmado po ng mga opisyal ng Davao City Hall Government. So, totoo po ang kanyang mga pahayag. Ayon kay Matubato, meron daw siyang ATM card bilang patunay na sumisweldo siya sa City Hall. Ito po ang Land Bank ATM card ni Edgar Matubato. Later on, pwede natin hingin yung mismong transaction history ng kanyang account para malaman natin kung talagang regular siyang pinapasweldohan. Next slide. Ayon kay Matubato, siya daw ay asset ng mga pulis. Ito po, dito po sa ID ni Matubato bilang agent ng CIDG, ito po ay nagpapatotoo ng kanyang salaysay. Next slide. Ayon kay Matubato, siya daw ay naka-assign sa heinous crime section ng Davao City o Davao City Hall. Again, dito sa job order form, makikita natin ang kanyang office of assignment na nakalagay heinous crime and investigation section ng main office. Ano yan? Ang date niyan ay 2nd July 2013. So, totoo muli ang kanyang salaysay. Next slide. Ito naman sa dokumento ng Human Resource Management Office ng City Government of Davao dated November 22, 2007. Nakalagay dito, please be informed. Naka-address ito kay Mr. Edgar Matubato, City Mayor's Office. Please be informed that your job order has been approved by the City Mayor and as such you are hereby assigned to the Heinous Crime Investigation and Detective Management Section, Davao City Police Office, this city, effective upon receipt hereof. Report to Police Senior Superintendent Jaime Morente, etc., etc. So, totoo ang kanyang sinasabi na siya ay naka-assign sa Heinous Crime Unit or Section ng Davao City Hall. Next slide. Ayon kay Matubato, dun sa kanyang salaysay noong September 15, itong mga ito ang miyembro ng Heinous Crime Section. Major Lau, Major Francia, Arthur Las Cañas, Sunny Benaventura, Jim Tan Braganza. Ayon sa ating fact check, sinabi mismo ni General De La Rosa, ang ating Chief PNP, and I quote, iyong pinagsasabi niya kanina, Your Honor, nakasama niya yung mga taga-heinous crime yun. Unquote. So, totoo ang salaysay ni Mr. Matubato. Next slide. Ayon kay Mr. Matubato, mayroon siyang barel na Colt caliber 45. Ayon sa ating pagsasaliksik, meron siyang firearm license card na ang nakalagay na barel ay Colt na caliber 45 na pistol. Totoong muli ang kanyang salaysay. Ito ang kanyang permit to carry firearms outside of residence na again nakalagay caliber 45 Colt ang brand. Totoong muli ang kanyang sinasabi. Next slide. Dito sa kanyang application for firearms license, makikita natin na ang kanyang office na pinanggagalingan ay mayor's office. At ang kanyang nakalagay na hindi ko mabasa eh. Anyway, kung ano man nakalagay, source of firearm is, ang pangalan dito ay si Arthur Las Cañas. Okay? Totoong muli na talagang silang dalawa ni Mr. Las Cañas ay magkasama. At ando doon siya sa opisina, meron siyang baril. Si Mr. Matubato. Ito naman ang permit to transport and purchase firearms and ammunition. Nakapangalan kay Mr. Matubato. Again, dito nakalagay ang Colt caliber 45 pistol. At dito sa permit to purchase firearms and ammunition, nakalagay ang kanyang address as care of Office of the City Mayor, Davao City. And dito po sa remarks, transfer of firearm from Arthur B. Las Cañas of Davao City. Next slide, please. Totoo po muli ang kanyang sinabi. Ayon kay Mr. Matubato, siya ay hitman ng Davao Death Squad. Ngayon, base sa ating fact check, si General De La Rosa mismo ang nagkumpirma nito. And I quote, I heard his name, narinig ko yung pangalan niya, Edgar Matubato, doon sa Davao, ito daw ay tirador. So ngayon, ito po ang ating kailangan at this point pagtagpi-tagpiin. Merong isang hitman na may barel ng lisensyado na naka-attach sa isang unit sa Davao City Hall Government under the Office of the City Mayor at mga pulis ang kanyang kasama. Lahat yan ay sinalaysay ni Mr. Matubato at totoo. So, ano ang ginagawa ng isang kilalang hitman sa Office of the City Mayor? Next slide, please. Ayon kay Matubato, noong June 19, 2014, isang linggo pagkamatay ni Richard King, siya ay hinuli at tinorture ng mga kapwa niyang miyembro ng Davao Death Squad para gawing fall guy. Base sa ating fact check, totoo nga na siya ay sinampahan ng kaso ng mga pulis na dati niyang kasamahan, sina Reynante Medina na isang SPO2 at isang Bienvenido Furog na SPO1 noong June 19, 2014. Again, totoo po ang salaysay ni Mr. Matubato. Ito rin dito sa report na ito ay lumabas na siya nga ay nakumpiskahan ng baril in relation, ang kanyang pagkakaresto ay in relation doon sa shooting incident that transpired in Davao City, which in this case was yung kay Mr. Richard King. So totoo muli ang kanyang sinabi. Ayon kay Matubato, noong September 1, 2014, sumuko siya sa DOJ at napasailalim sa Witness Protection Program. Base sa ating fact check, dito po sa NBI report to the DOJ, nakalagay po dito, Matubato of Davao City, 55 years of age, has been under protective custody of the DOJ Witness Protection Program since September 1, 2014. Again, totoo po ang sinasabi ni Mr. Matubato. Next slide, please. Ayon kay Matubato, may kinidnap at pinatay nila ang 3 babae na pinaghihinalaang pusher at itinapon nila ang mga ito sa gilid ng kalsada sa San Rafael Village. Pakinggan natin ang report na ito ng GMA News.
Ang San Rafael Village ang sinasabi naman ni Matubato kung saan nila itinapon ang mga katawan ng isang fixer sa LTO at 3 babaeng drug pusher umano. Ayon sa kapitan ng barangay, isang may itinapon nga ng mga bangkay ng 3 babae noon sa lugar. Pero hindi naman sa sigurado kung ito nga ang tinutukoy ni Matubato.
In between 2007 to 2008, ganyan, so na may natagpuan dito yung 2 babae tinapon sa may San Rafael Gold Street.
Muli, totoo ang sinabi ni Mr. Matubato. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matubato, noong 1993, ayon sa utos ni dating Mayor at ngayon Presidente Rodrigo Duterte, hinagisa nila ng granada ang ilang moske sa Davao City. Base sa ating fact check, totoo nga na merong noong December 28, 1993, merong mga moske sa Davao City na hinagisan ng granada. Next slide please. So muli, totoo ang salaysay ni Mr. Matubato. Ayon kay Matubato, noong 2002, kinidnap nila ni Arthur Las Cañas at ang isang Sally Macdum sa Island Garden City of Samal. At ngayon, nagpapasalamat tayo dun sa video na binigay ni Senator Cayetano at ito ang pruweba na nagsasabi siya ng totoo. So panoorin natin.
During the Senate hearing on extrajudicial killings, witness Edgar Matubato claims to be part of the Davao Death Squad, and he says that Mayor Rodrigo Duterte ordered the killing of suspected criminals. Among the targets he disclosed was a certain Sally Macdum, who he says is an international terrorist. But people who know both Matubato and Macdum say Matubato is lying. Matubato is a regular customer at this eatery in Samal Island. This is where he usually takes his breakfast and lunch. He also became friends with the owners since his second wife is their third-degree relative. Matubato is into buying and selling of lands. He also served as a bodyguard to a local politician. He is known in the Peña Plata market. Business owners and residents say he always carries and shows off guns, including high-powered ones. Many say he is a troublemaker.
Natakot na kami kasi marami kasi siyang baril ganito. Tapos may ganun pa siyang baril. Tapos nagsasabi siya na DDS daw siya. Lagi niya binabanggit yun, DDS ako, DDS ako. Tapos pag mapatay ako ng maraming tao, ganun ang sinasabi niya. Sabi, nakakatakot. Ano ba yung DDS? Pumapatay ng tao. Tapos bibili siya ng lupa, tapos papatay siya ng tao.
Meanwhile, Macdum is more popularly referred to as Eric or Turco, since he is a Turkish national. He lived in Davao since 1997. He had a common law wife and a child in Samal Island. Macdum and Matubato are not just neighbors. Their wives are cousins. Macdum's mother-in-law says Matubato initially tried to sell gold to Macdum after finding out he was into a buy and sell trade. But from there, he had another offer. Matubato tried to sell a piece of land to Macdum. Macdum agreed and was ready to pay. Dindin says the money is already prepared in a bag. They even met at Matubato's favorite eatery where the transaction was supposed to take place, but it could have been set up.
Nag-order sila sa kape niya. Wala pa mi nakaserve. Niabot ang kauban ni Matubato. Mga 7 katao. So nasigang mata sa Turko. Kaya anak siya mura siya na-nervous ba. Siya gar. Anak po si Edgar nga. Kanang huwag ka lang matakot, sama ka na lang sa kanila. Pero may L300 yan sa baba, ma'am.
Dindin claims some investigators came over since Macdum's wife filed a complaint, but Matubato's wife tried to stop them from cooperating with the law enforcers.
Muari ang CIDG, ma'am, no? Pag na sa CIDG mo, puli ang igsoon, asawa nga. Anong ganang ino niya akong asawa ba nga? Nung dili ka mag-testimony ha? Ayaw pag-testimony ha, kaya madaot ka, anak.
And until now, Macdum's family never found justice for him. Trisha Terada, CNN Philippines, Davao City.
So diyan po sa video ng CNN Philippines, pinapatotoo na kinidnap nga nila Mr. Edgar Matubato at kanyang grupo si Mr. Sally Macdum. Alam nyo, noong unang hearing, hindi kilala ito si Mr. Sally Macdum at pinagdudahan natin yung kanyang credibility dahil baka nga inexistent itong tao na ito. Pero dito, hindi siya nag-waiver. Ininsist niya na merong taong ganon at totoo nga na merong taong ganon na kinidnap sa Samal Island. At 7 silang kumidnap ayon dun mismo sa saksi. Ngayon, ayon kay Matubato, ang Laod Quarry sa Maa, Davao City na pagmamay-ari ng isang SPO4 Ben Laod ang tapunan ng mga sinasalvage nila. Base sa ating fact check, may mga nakitang mga buto noong 2009 dito po sa tinatawag na Gold Cup Firing Range, a privately owned premises run and operated by a retired policeman, retired SPO4 Bienvenido Laod alias Tatay Laod. Totoo po ang sinabi ni Mr. Matubato. Bukod pa riyan, again, another report, the property tagged as Gold Cup Firing Range is allegedly owned and operated by retired policeman identified by the CHR as SPO4 Bienvenido Laod alias Tatay Laod. Totoo ang kanyang salaysay. Dito sa recently posted article ng PCIJ at Rappler, lumalabas dito na noong November 9, 2014, dito nga sa Laod Quarry in Davao City ay naging natapunan ng mga bangkay na pinatay ng DDS. So muli, totoo ang kanyang sinabi. Next slide please. Ayon kay Matubato, ang pagkaalam niya, pinatay si Richard Ging dahil sa away sa babae. Ayon sa ating fact check, ito ay tugma sa pahayag mismo ni President Duterte. Panoorin natin.
Kulangko.
Itong si Kulangko, now that I know from the intelligence gathering that he was connected with also Richard King. Ang chismis ka nito na pinatay because of a love triangle, menage a trois, they called it, because magkaibigan niya sila ng asawa niya, sa asawa ng kabila. But it turned out that sa drugs ito siya. But I think and I believe that he was not killed because of drugs. He was killed because kinain niya pati yung propiedad ng babae.
Ngayon, you be the judge. That's the word of the President. Hindi ko sinasabi na totoo. Ngayon, next. Ayon kay Matubato, noong 2010, kinidnap ng grupo ni Matubato ang 4 na tao. Isa sa kanila ay babaeng ex-barangay captain. Sila daw ay mga tauhan ni General Matiliano at ni General Palparan na sumusuporta kay Nograles na dating speaker. Sila ay pinatay at itinapon sa dagat. Ayon din kay Mr. Matubato, minsan ibinabalot nila ng masking tape or packaging tape, na yun ang tinuro niya, ang kanilang biktima upang hindi makilala. So base sa ating fact check, 2 supporter ni General Palparan na party list group nila ay namatay, ay natagpo ang patay. Isa dito ay former barangay councilwoman Juliana Noquera. Isa ring bangkay ng nagngangalang Rolando Miranda was also recovered in the same day diyan po sa Kaputian District, Island Garden City of Samal. So again, totoo ang naging salaysay. Meron din dito another news report. Ito ay mga news report noong 2010 that the Regional Police Office of Region 11 identified the victims as Ronald Miranda, who was found dead in the island garden city of Samal, while former barangay kagawad Juliana Huling Noquera was found in Santa Maria, Davao del Sur. So totoo ang sinabi niya. Despite the denials of former Speaker Nograles and his son, Congressman Nograles. So dito po, sinasabi nila former Congressman Pastor Alcober at Palparan, ini-implicate nila si former Mayor and now President Duterte in the abduction of Noquera and Miranda. Totoo ang sinabi ni Mr. Matubato. Dito po, sa picture na ito, babasahin ko, makikita ninyo na iba't ibang anggulo ng isang bangkay na natagpuan. Ang sabi ni former Congressman June Alcober doon sa isang Facebook post, ito ay si Kaonag, security at anti-communist organizer namin sa Kalinan, Davao City. Kinidnap ng DDS kasama isang babae, barangay councilor at pinatay sa saksak at tinapon sa dagat ng Samal Island. Before nailibing ang bangkay, pinarada namin ito sa Davao City Hall and challenged Digong to arrest DDS responsible for their deaths. Hanggang ngayon, walang aksyon at resulta sa investigasyon. Makonsensya ka, Digong. Alam mo bakit pinatay sila? Gabaan gyud ka, Digong. Gabaan gyud ka. Totoo ang sinabi ni Mr. Matubato. Dito po, nais nating ipakita yung sinabi ni Mr. Matubato kung anong ginagawa nila dun sa masking tape o yung tinuro niya na packaging tape na binabalot sa muka. Makikita rin natin ang leeg na ginarote na ang tawag ni Matubato ay binigti. Next slide. Dito rin natin makikita na habang may bigti o may ginarote yung biktima, meron pa ring saksak sa dibdib. At kung makikita natin yung mga lacerations, sinusubukan nilang palakihin yung butas ng tiyan. Ito ang mga gawain ng DDS. Now that we have seen the different corroborating evidence on the testimony of Mr. Edgar Matubato, we are faced with a very frightening prospect, that of having a mass murderer as president of the country. I am sure, prior to this inquiry, all of us have heard of rumors about the Davao Death Squad, and that then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte was somehow behind it. But we were able to look the other way because it was convenient for us to do so. All that has changed. We cannot look the other way anymore because now Edgar Matubato is staring us in the face. He has testified that President Duterte, as mayor of Davao City, was the mastermind behind the Davao Death Squad, which was responsible for the killing of more than 1,000 persons from 1998 to 2013. With this, each of us in this August chamber is at a crossroads, and the whole world is watching our next step. On one hand, we can sweep these very serious allegations under the rug, or we can decide to fulfill our mandate in our system of checks and balances by expanding our investigation to rule out that possibility that indeed we have a mass murderer as President of the Republic. As for myself, the choice is quite clear. Having been guided all my adult life by this phrase in the PMA Cadets Prayer, and I quote, "Guide us that we may discipline our lives to trail the difficult path rather than to go astray on the easier ways." End of quote. I now move that this privileged speech be referred to the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations so that an inquiry be conducted to look into the alleged direct involvement of then Mayor and now President Rodrigo Duterte and other public officials in the killing of more than 1,000 persons in Davao City through the so-called Davao Death Squad. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
It's the pleasure of Senator Cayetano.
Mr. President, before the motion is acted upon by our Honorable Majority Leader and members of the Senate, will the gentleman yield to some questions for interpellations?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is very serious allegations. And since I think my colleague in the Senate, na diretsuhan niya na sinabi, and the Bible says the truth shall set us free. So that means that either we have a mass murderer as a president or we have mass liars as his critics. Because the two cannot coexist with each other. And I thought that's why we have the committee system, so that we can ferret that out in the committee, because the presentation today here was actually in violation of our rules. Because when a matter is already referred to a committee and being discussed and heard, it is for that committee unless we are asking the plenary to reverse. Having said that, it is the right of the gentleman to bring these things up. I didn't want to be accused of gagging him or not allowing him to speak. But I ask for his patience. I know this is a very emotional issue for all Filipinos. But as he is doing his job, may he allow me to do my job. My first question, Mr. President, is Your Honor, Senator Trillanes. Have you experienced a custodial investigation or a preliminary investigation? By any chance?
Yes, Mr. President, quite a lot, as far as I can recall.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, being an experienced senator, and I forgot that you passed through that, no? Because being a political science student and a lawyer, we were required to observe. So like sa akin po, sa Fiskalya ng Manila. And when and I wanted to point it out, the point he was making about the affidavit and sworn statement, nasabi kasi nung gentleman that English kasi to, kaya hindi naintindihan. Is it correct, Your Honor, Mr. President, Senator Trillanes, that sa custodial investigation, sa PI, and when the NBI, police, or fiscals talk to the witnesses, they are talked in their native language, not in English? Hindi po ba?
I wouldn't have an idea.
Yes, that is the standard rule in the preliminary investigation. Because if not, that will not only be a violation of their rights, it will be a criminal case against those who are taking his statement, because it will be perjury on their side, because they will be putting words in the mouth of the witness. So my next question, sir, have you read the affidavit of Mr. Motobato submitted to the NBI?
Yes, Mr. President.
Did you notice anything about why it was in English?
Well, I believe it's a standard report of... anyway, let me just correct the gentleman that it's not technically an affidavit. It was a sworn statement, Mr. President.
That's one and the same thing, but I'll not argue with him there. Let me just read the first paragraph.
But Mr. President, it may be one and the same thing for lawyers, but for a grade 1 student, let us not assume that it is so,
well,
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's a good point. I will go to that later. Sworn statement of Edgar Matobato E. Bernal given before Agent Eugene Javier IV in the presence of Agent Oliver de Rivera and witnessed by Joselita Abarquez here in the Office of the Anti-Organized and Transnational Crime Division, AOTCD, Death Investigation Unit, DIU, National Bureau of Investigation, Taft, this 4th day of September 2014. Note, Mr. President, hindi po to custodial investigation dahil yung witness ang nag-volunteer na siya ay magse-state witness at siya ang magbibigay ng kanyang alam. This isn't, hindi ito yung napapanood natin sa mga crime telenovelas or sa series sa TV na bakit wala kang abogado o bakit you have the right to remain silent. He chose to speak. What does the first paragraph said? The following questions were asked in the dialect known to the affiant and thereafter truly and accurately translated in the English language. So, Mr. President, hindi po totoo yung sinabi ni Senator Trillanes kanina na dahil English, hindi naiintindihan nung affiant or nung ni Mr. Matobato. Sapagkat in-explain to sa kanya, may witnesses, Binisaya, Tinagalog, at okay. Second point, Mr. President. Senator Trillanes, are you aware where this affidavit went after the NBI?
Mr. President, this representation is willing to submit and accede and concede to the point of the gentleman so that we can expedite the whole thing because we have a pending motion that the body needs to address,
yes.
Mr. Chairman.
But, Mr. President, Senator Trillanes tried to paint to the public that Mr. Matobato is credible, and I'd like the chance to engage him in a polite and a sober discussion that I respectfully and humbly disagree with his presentation. That was his assessment. It's not my assessment. But instead of giving my assessment and standing on a question of personal privilege, pabayaan natin ang publiko ang makinig kung ano ang tama, sino tama, at sila mag-judge kay Mr. Matobato. Having said that, sir, I ask you if you know where it went, because it went to the Department of Justice that accepted his affidavit. That kept him in the witness protection program. And that affidavit was partially used to file the cases, which was dismissed. And I'd like to ask Senator Trillanes, are you aware that the case filed by Mr. Matobato against the 5 policemen for torture, arbitrary detention, violation of human rights of a detained person were dismissed by the DOJ during the time of President Aquino? Are you aware, sir?
Mr. President, again, I am wondering where all of these questions would lead to, because if the gentleman intends to test the credibility of Mr. Matobato, then I am the wrong person to ask. I have presented the findings that we gathered based on our limited capability, and I presented my case to the floor. So it's up to the people, and especially the senators, to decide on the matter, because I'm not the one going to testify, or I wasn't the one who testified or made allegations against President Duterte, Mr. President.
I beg to disagree, Mr. President. In this hall, Senator Trillanes chose upon himself to make representations and make conclusions that Mr. Matobato is credible, that that there are no inconsistencies. So when someone stands up to interpolate, it is to test either our prejudice or our wisdom. Meaning, kung ang initial tingin ko, mali ka, sir, and then nasagot mo ako ng tama, edi I will admit, mali pala ako. At tama ka pala, at credible pala si Mr. Matobato. But, kung hindi masagot, or mali ang sagot, or mali ang then we expect that we'll have at least a consensus. You may leave this hall believing that he's credible. I may leave this hall believing that he is not credible. But at least the fellow senators will have the benefit of both sides, and not only the side of Senator Trillanes. And the public will also get to know. Anyway, Mr. President, on June 30, 2016, the day the President took his oath, dinismiss po ng DOJ. Hindi po DOJ ni President Duterte yan. It was through Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit. Which brings me to the next statement, the next question.
Just an interjection on that point. Does the gentleman know which part of the day on June 30 was this case dismissed?
Sir President,
Because on June 30 in the afternoon, President Duterte already assumed as President of
well,
the Republic.
let's find out, Mr. President.
So
but
the
my
gentleman apparently is not aware also of these details, which is very essential to the
Yes.
whole point that he's making,
Mr. President, being a lawyer, I know for a fact that the DOJ Secretary cannot dismiss it by himself. All these papers and all these recommendations are on the desk of the Secretary from layers and layers. That's why I mentioned it's through Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit. In fact, Mr. President, I was in Malacanang. Senator Drilon here was also in Malacanang. You were in Malacanang during the oath-taking, and the oath-taking of the DOJ Secretary was still after. But for fairness, we will go there and look at it. But I stand by my word, Mr. President, that my belief is that all of these assessments made from the lower prosecutors to the state prosecutor to the DOJ was done during the Aquino administration. Which leads me, Mr. President, to the question that I'd like to ask the Honorable Senator Trillanes. Do you know the doctrine or the theory about half-truths? Have you heard about this?
In as much as I would want to be schooled by those legal jargons, but I wouldn't want to waste the time of our colleagues, Mr. President. I believe we can schedule another whole day seminar if the senator would wish to school me on legal matters, but the issue remains addressed, Mr. President. The motion is presented on the floor, and we have yet to decide on the matter, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I do not wish to school anyone. It's not for me. In fact, I approached some of the senators here to help mentor me during this time because I'm used to being in the opposition. There's much for me to learn. But I bring up the doctrine or the concept of half-truths because this is what criminals use, and this is what people na naninira or people who want to destroy credibility of others use. What is the concept of half-truths? So I'll give you an example, Mr. President, just to continue. No? It'll just take me 1 minute, Your Honor. If Senator Pimentel, our Senate President, is in front of me, Senator Trillanes, and I are here, and then I say, can I have 1 minute para mag-CR? Then I get to the CR, but katabi po ng CR sa likod, may nagsaksakan po. No? At meron pong patay. Then I come back here. No? So if Senator Villanueva stands up and says, Alan was in the session hall, umihi siya, and then sinaksak niya yung Mr. X siya pumatay, it is a half-truth. In fact, it's 2/3 truth because 1, I am here. 2, umihi ako. I don't know why he knows that. But 3, hindi totoo na siya ay pinatay ko. I say that because the presentation of Senator Trillanes were full of half-truths. Wala naman pong pinag-usapan na meron po talagang 1993 bombing ng katedral at ng moske. And yung mga ninarrate ni Mr. Matubato, pwede niyang basahin sa dyaryo yon tapos dugtungan. That goes to my second question, my third question, Senator Trillanes, Mr. President. The nature of the testimony has to be or cannot be hearsay. So may I ask the good senator, how much of the testimony, in his opinion, of Mr. Matubato was hearsay?
Well, let me address the first point first, Mr. President, because the gentleman has a tendency to jump from one subject to the other. Okay, on the first point that he mentioned regarding the doctrine of half-truths being used by criminals and liars, I would concede and accept the argument of the senator because apparently he may be following the doctrine of it takes one to know one. Now, let me go to the next point. He mentioned that Mr. Matubato didn't say anything about the 1993 bombing of the cathedral. Now, I direct him to page 16 of the transcript of the September 15, 2016 hearing of the Committee on Justice. And I quote, "Oo, rebel returnees at saka pulis, nagkuan na kami, yon mga opisyal na namin. 1993, binomba ang katedral ng Davao City, yung simbahan. Umorder naman si Mayor Duterte na masakerin yung mga moske ng mga Muslim." Now, just this point would highlight the example that it is the gentleman who is practicing that doctrine of half-truths being used by criminals and liars. So, there's so many of that. That's why we needed to present the truth in this earlier presentation, because precisely the gentleman twisted so many information, so many facts during the last hearing. Again, Mr. President, if the gentleman is opposing, then I believe it is time to divide the House.
I'm not
Mr. President.
opposing yet. I ask if he's willing to be interpellated. Kung tatakbo siya, ayaw na niya. Kung ayaw niya magpa-interpellate, that's his call. But usually, Mr. President, because this is a hall of gentlemen and ladies, in the same patience that we sat here and listened to his presentation, usually, the senators also patiently ask for questions, receive the questions, answer them. Actually, Mr. President, it's quite parliamentary to say it takes one to know one, but I'll not take any offense. I'm used to that kind of, even now sa cellphone, araw-araw, there's a brigade to curse, etc., me, and etc., and it's okay. But I'll just follow his logic. It takes one to know one. So he says, I'm a person of half-truth. That's why huli ko si Matubato na nag-half-truth. So siya na rin nag-admit na si Matubato is using half-truths. Following his own logic. I will sacrifice my own credibility. If he is saying it takes one to know one, so, and I know that half-truths ang ginagamit ni Mr. Matubato, so he's admitting that his own witness, or the witness that he stood up to protect or to explain, expound. But having said that, Mr. President, hindi po ako ang testigo. So if I use half-truths or if I use misleading, leading questions as a senator to get to the truth, that is allowed. Yung pong hindi allowed, yung witness na hindi niya sasabihin ang katotohanan. Bakit po? If you notice, Mr. President, and I see the famous Secretary Barbo right in front of me, he's famous during the impeachment of of a former president, where he again and again said, if you remember that, Secretary Barbo, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Because the reality is, you can say a half-truth. I can tell my wife, umuwi ako ng alas 12. Diba? Hindi ako tumingin sa babae. Pero nakapikit pala ako nung kasama ko yung babae. So, hindi whole truth yon, half-truth yon. But I ask that, Mr. President, in coordination with the question of hearsay, with the patience of Senator Trillanes, I didn't jump to a next. It's connected. Again and again, it has been proven. I also have my presentation, but I will not bore you with it. I will submit it to the Committee on Justice. And the good Senator Gordon has instructed us not to lecture the members. He has instructed us that if we have observations, we submit it to the committee, we discuss it among ourselves, then we will vote upon it. So, but because Senator Trillanes brought this up, I'm forced to also give my own observations. No? Every time that we look at Mr. Matubato's testimony, he jumps from pretending to have personal knowledge, going to hearsay. The best example dyan is yung kay Mr. Macdum. Sa affidavit po, pinakita na rin po ito ni Senator Trillanes, ang sabi niya, ang sinabi po niya doon, ang sinabi po niya dito ay terrorist lang. Terrorist lang. Tinanong ko siya, asawa yon ng asawa ng pinsan mo. Magpinsan yung asawa niyo. papatayin mo, sinabi terrorist lang, walang paliwanag. That is contrary to human experience. Kung magpinsan ang asawa namin ni Senator Manny Pacquiao at balak akong gulpihin, hindi nga patayin, gulpihin, it is but human experience, it is but logical that Senator Pacquiao will tell his wife, pakisabihan mo nga yung pinsan mo, di ko na yung kaya yung mukha ni Alan na yan, gugulpihin ko na yan. Unless it happens spontaneously na magkatabi kami, bigla na lang nainis, wag naman sana mangyari, Senator Pacquiao. No? But it is against human nature. So what does the affidavit said? The affidavit said, pinaliwanag ni Mr. Motobato na siya ang nagbomba ng moske, which he conveniently forgot, even if paulit-ulit ang question ko. Doon po sa Davao Death Squad, doon po nung tinanong siya at present siya sa unang hearing, nung palang pong unang punta niya sa hearing, ang sabi niya, at saka pagka 1998, sa pagka-umpisang pag-mayor ni Mayor Duterte, kinuha ako sa batalyon dahil maganda naman iyong performance sa Capgu. Tapos pagkuha niya, dinala niya sa Davao City at nagtagtag siya ng grupo ng Lambada Boys. Hindi po yun ang sinabi niya sa affidavit niya. Sa affidavit niya, ang sinabi niya, I was only a farmer in Davao. Growing up, when I was in my 20s, I realized I need to make a better living, which is substantial, Mr. President, because he testified 3,000 lang daw sweldo niya. Pero namili siya na maging mass murderer. Ano pong kasunod? At the same time, I was attracted to the power, influence of people working for the local government because they were untouchable. It was then that I decided to join the Davao City government through the civilian security force. With your patience, Mr. President, kay Richard King, eto po ang sabi niya, they kept telling me to confess that I was the one who killed Mr. King. But I never did. Tama po si Senator Trillanes doon. Hindi niya claim na siya. Pero ano po sabi niya dito? Because I knew who killed him. I know SPO2, Reynate Medina killed Mr. Richard King. Nobody else in Davao will take a project of this scale and against a person of this level but SPO2 Reynante Medina. Sir President, what did he say in the September 15 hearing? Nagbago. Sabi niya, ang nag-utos niyan ay si Paulo Duterte. Ma'am, ang nag-utos niyan ay si Paulo Duterte, etc. sa McDonald's. Tapos eto sabi niya, word for word to, page 50 to 52 ng transcript. Pagkatapos yung iyong tumirang kay Richard King ay inyong kasamahan ko na rebel returnee na may kasamang pulis doon. Motobato, sila si Joel Tapales alias Turco at saka si Luloy Gabas, ma'am. So Mr. President, the presentation seems to paste things together to make it appear that the inconsistencies were minor. No, sir. When you change the names of the person who killed, when you change how they were killed, kay Mr. Macdumpo, ang sinabi niya, at paulit-ulit ako, tinanong ko siya, nilaslas niyo ba liig? Sabi niya, hindi. Tinanong ko, tinagtad ba? Hindi. Pero sa affidavit po, or at least ganun po ang concept nung pagtatanong. Sa pagdating po sa affidavit, ang sagot po sa affidavit, nilaslas po nila. So it's very different. That's why my next question, sir, to you, Mr. President, Senator Trillanes, you keep mentioning that if the inconsistencies are minor, that is okay. Are you referring to a Supreme Court decision?
Mr. President, my privileged speech was very clear. I presented my case, and I believe the information that we were able to gather merited further investigation. That's why I made a motion. Now, I respect the views of the gentleman, and he can oppose all he wants. But at the end of the day, that motion remains to be addressed. And no matter what I do, I'm confident, and no matter what we can come up with, I am confident that we won't be able to convince the gentleman anyway. So might as well get this over and done with by dividing the House.
Mr. President, hindi naman siguro tama yung hit and run dito sa Senado. Yes, he might not be able to convince me, but what about Senator Soto? What about Senator JV Hercito behind him. What about the public that is listening? Yung ibig sabihin hit and run, hindi naman pwedeng yung isa magsasalita and then hindi natin tatapusin yung interpellation, doon na kayagad tayo sa motion. That has been the tradition. Kaya nga po na nabuo din yung na kahit nasa yung favorite po na sabihin ni Brother Eddie na tatay po ni Senator Joel Villanueva na kahit sa Plaza Miranda tayo magdebate. Pero dito din po nanggaling sa Senado yun at saka sa Plaza Miranda because walang umaatras po sa debate. What happens po, Mr. President, with your patient, Senator Trillanes? Labas natin lahat ng arguments. Then let's be the people in the gallery. Nahiya ako sa mga beauty queen na nasa likod ko. We are here to honor them. I want to wrap up and finish, but they will understand that this is of grave national importance, Mr. President. Mr. President, in GR number 179497, People of the Philippines versus Mamarungkas. This is a recent case, 2012. But if you Google po, napakaraming kaso nito. This is from one of my favorite justices, no, Justice Castillo. But there are Justice Del Castillo, sorry. There are many other cases that say practically the same thing. Ito po ang sabi ng Supreme Court. The perceived inconsistency on whether Gepayo knows Ampatuan even before the incident is inconsequential as to discredit the credibility of Gepayo's testimony. The inconsistency pointed out by the appellant pertains only to the collateral or trivial matters and has no substantial effect on the nature of the offense. In fact, it even signifies that the witness was neither coached nor was lying on the witness stand. What matters is there is no inconsistencies. Mr. President, this is the important part. In Gepayo's complete and vivid narration as far as the principal occurrence and positive identification as Ampatuan as one of the principal assailants are concerned. The court has held, although there may be inconsistencies in the testimony of witness on minor details, they do not impair the credibility where the consistency is relating into the principal occurrence and positive identification of the assailant. Meaning, Mr. President, pag yung positive identification at yung occurrence ng crime, sino, saan, paano naganap, sino kasali, paano mo pinatay, hindi minor inconsistency yun. At tagtag ng inconsistencies ang testimonya ni Mr. Matubato. In fact, hindi ko na nga iisa-isahin dito. Even nung sinabi niyang sa McDonald's, hearsay na nga, mali pa. Kasi hindi naman siya pumatay, narinig niya lang sa iba, tapos mali pa. Hindi pa dun sa kung saan pinatay. Mr. President, yung masking tape, I just want to mention that dahil ako nagdala nito. You know, if you talk to a graphic artist, for example, especially in olden days nung hindi pa sa computer, sa akin, especially nung elementary school ako, pag sinabing Mongol number 2 or pencil, lahat naman sa akin na may lead pencil Di ba? Pero dun po, sa yun ang trabaho nila. Dun po, sa mga artist, may iba-ibang number yan. May iba-ibang kapal. May iba-ibang klaseng pens, pencils, etc. No? Why? That is their trade. So if you look at the killings that are now going on, where people are taped from head to toe or just their arms, it is the same as some drug cartels. I will not tell you the nationality. Yung ibang mga ambassadors umaangal na sa atin because it is linked with their drug cartels, no? But my point, Mr. President, is this. Kung tatlo kami ni Senator Manny Pacquiao dito, ang killer, hindi pwedeng nasa kotse mo may masking tape ka parati. Hindi pwedeng may lime ka kasi kung maghukay ka, lalagyan mo ng may mga chemical or may mga lalagay dyan para hindi bumaho. Or right now, grabe na yung DNA, so may ilalagay ka dyan. If you're a professional killer, DDS is claimed to be professional killers, right? Remember, this isn't a homicide or one murder. They are claiming that this is organized crime. So what do I mean, Mr. President? Tatlo kami ni Senator Pacquiao, Senator Joel. Sabi, pare, may papatayin tayo. Bumili ka na ng tape. Alam na namin kung anong klaseng tape. Pag pumunta si Alan sa National Bookstore at sabihin ko masking tape at babalik ako at ipapakita ko kay Manny Pacquiao ang masking tape. Ang sabihin niya sa akin, ang bobo mo naman, Alan. Kasi yung masking tape, madaling maputol yan. Ang masking tape, ganito yan. Ang masking tape, ganyan. Kung may matalas yan, kung may ganyan yan, malalagari, matatanggal yan. Ang ginagamit namin dyan, duct tape o packing tape. So, kahit grade 1 ka, Mr. President, I work with a lot of professionals. No? Yung gumagawa ng sapatos ko galing Marikina, professional yan. Yung pakong bakya na ginagamit, halimbawa, at kailan gagamitin, kailan yung pandikit, anong klaseng pandikit, di ba? Yung pong pag ikaw po ay edad na natin, Mr. President, at hindi ko alam kung ilan sa atin dito ang nagpapakulay ng buhok, whether katulad ng style ni Joel Villanueva, kung natural, or ako na may puti-puti, at i-admit ko, minsan pinapaitim ko ng konti. May pangalan lahat yan, Mr. President. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin sa gagawa, kulay lang. Diba? May technical yan, Mr. President. So wag natin po sabihin pa ulit-ulit, grade 1 lang yan, hindi alam. Yung tao po is 57 years old, claims to be a killer, claims to be a professional. Let's not, every time he makes a mistake, let's not say grade 1 lang yan. Napakaraming magaling na tao na grade 1, hindi nakapag-aral. One of my idols na hindi nakatapos ng college, I think high school, si Senator and then Secretary Ople. And he was one of the best labor secretaries and senators this nation has, no? Bill Gates, we can name 1 million people, or thousands of people. So let's not make that as an excuse, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President, let me just interject, because the gentleman is saying that this is a debate, but it has been a monologue since around 4:20. Now, I'm confused now. He started with the masking tape, then he jumped to his parlor, whatever, then to Senate President Ople. Where is the debate?
I'll show him where the debate
Okay.
is, Mr. President. The debate is when I ask him a question, but he keeps answering me na emotion na. So napipilitan ako na sabihin na lang ang point ko
Okay.
diretso. But if the gentleman will graciously answer